councillors I don't think...
Mr Mayor, please, can I raise a point of order with you? Are you going to allow, is that comment in order that the man has just made? That was a scurrilous personal attack on a senior member of this authority.
If you would withdraw the comment with regard to an investigation against the CEO.
The Edgeley Community Association Group have read the proposals put forward in both the budget and the amendment and considered them very carefully. This is the first time that the ECA has faced a budget, but we have in our constitution the principles of voting according to conscience, not with, according to what we believe is in the best interest of the people of Edgeley and Edgeley, what's best for Edgeley Ward and what we feel is best for the borough as a whole. Some may recall I stood in this very same spot last year as an independent, and I would say that I had concerns that if the Labour group continues on its current trajectory, it would be difficult for them to be trusted to effectively set or help set a budget. However, under new management, a period of reflection seems to have been held, and although there's clearly a handful of unhappy campers on site, our group believes that we are now in a position where we're able to work with them on matters that affect Edgeley Ward as an inner town area which contains a community of good, hard-working people that has to deal with the destructive effects of deprivation and what deprivation can do, and also what a lack of both physical and social investment does to the proposal. On the fourth and final budget amendment, this is probably the most significant of the proposals. It involves a review of our Stockport homes. The ECA believes it's now a good time to look at how the organisation is working for both tenants and council. The area of policy and politics around maintaining and building council housing seems to be changing week to week at present nationally. Central government have already introduced new legislation that adds extra duties and responsibilities onto local authorities on public housing. Councils across the country are bringing hours in. Most importantly, given that council housing is going to be housing in general is going to be the most critical policy areas for this borough for the rest of this decade and beyond, we now think it's a good time to look at how it's working. As members are aware from declaration of interest tonight, I'm no stranger to Stockport homes. I'm a tenant myself. I'm apparently regarded as a poster child for the borough's shared ownership house building programme. I live on a remarkable pepper pot council estate which is tight knit. I've watched community grow in front of my eyes over the last 2 years, and Stockport Homes is the architect of that. However, it's a different type of ownership that concerns us as the ECA, and ownership of issues across the board, and that tells us all is not well. The ECA increasingly being seen as housing officers, as disrepair, building maintenance and other matters go addressed, either in good time or not at all. There's a sense that Stockport Homes Group has become detached from the communities and tenants it serves, and confidence is unfortunately far too low for our liking for this to continue. We've used the last of our goodwill to keep tenants happy in our ward. We went into the York Street Community Centre yesterday to speak to residents who are in full agreement with what's on the table tonight. We don't think that the status quo is fit for purpose. Accountability mechanisms in place through the democratic processes we have are not adequate. There's too much of a defensive culture in place. It's almost that we feel that Stockport Homes is a diplomatic community, even though over the last couple of years it's been handling critical services like antisocial behaviour provision, repair of public buildings, etc., etc. And as we've seen in other public institutions in recent years, we've seen what can result from a defensive culture. So are the organisations spending more time chasing awards than chasing repairs? That's one of the many things that are really concerning. We're completely open to honest discussion and collaboration with Stockport Homes. We have a very good working relationship with frontline officers across different service delivery areas of the organisation, and they're a credit to the delivery of a public housing service. I'm not going to leave this tonight without saying that I think we've seen today, unfortunately, the defensive culture that's embedded in the organisation. We're its head. The CEO of the organisation has been lobbying and emotionally blackmailing selected political groups to vote a certain way on this amendment tonight, as it may upset staff. I don't believe that this is on at all. It's not just bizarre, but I also think it warrants an investigation as well. It's not on at all. Tell this to the tenants who are having to put up with 10% increase to service charges for an intercom service.
Mr Mayor, please, can I raise a point of order with you? Are you going to allow, is that comment in order that the man has just made? That was a scurrilous personal attack on a senior member of this authority, and I don't think it's on, frankly. I think you should ask him to withdraw it and reconsider.
No.
That shows you this caring, trying to help. That shows what it's all about. Pompous, arrogant, caring, wanting to help.
Thank you. Having taken some advice, I'm asked if you would withdraw the comment with regard to an investigation against the CEO.
I did speak to the clerk before the meeting about this, and I believe it's in the public interest that an investigation will be carried out.
Okay, again, taking advice. The understanding was that before the meeting, there was a discussion about raising this, and an investigation against the organisation is not the same thing as an investigation about the individual. I'm going to ask again whether you would withdraw the specific allegation against the individual.
To move things on, Mr. Mayor, I'll retract the allegation. I just want to finish off now. I've got about a minute and a half, so yeah, I'll retract it. So, just in conclusion, I don't think it's on really. I mean, we've got busy mothers at work taking their only break of the day, to call it day after day, to speak to some of the callers talking about disrepairs to be greeted with answering machine messages. The organisation does not exist in a vacuum. We can't pick and choose when it's held to account, and we are the decision makers in this chamber, and therefore I urge all members here tonight to support this in the interest of the board.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I must say, Mr. Mayor, it's a shame that in advance of the review that's been called for, it does appear that some members, and we'll come to Councillor Wynne in a moment, but that some members on that side appear to have already made their mind up. And I do feel that Stockport Homes has had a bad time of it tonight, and I'm here as leader of the council, not as the chief executive, not as a paid employee of Stockport Homes, and I put it to this council tonight that damage has been done to their reputation by some of the intemperate language that's been used by certain members. Councillor Wynne was not the only one, but I think to effectively accuse the chief executive of the organisation of blackmail was frankly a disgraceful comment, and I would put to you, Mr. Mayor, that he still has the opportunity to withdraw that comment, which, although I'm no lawyer, I would have thought was bordering on slanderous. Stockport Homes doesn't get everything right. It is not perfect. It never claims to have been. Well, it has worked closely with councillors of all stripes and non-party councillors for a considerable period of time in trying to provide a decent service for the council tenants of Stockport. And that has been borne out effectively in repeated high scores on tenant satisfaction surveys. We know there are always things that can be improved. The chief executive there and her team, to the best of my knowledge, and we've not been told any different scrutiny or at any other time, are open to having these kind of discussions about concerns, about potential changes for the future, which didn't take place before the amendment was tabled, as I understand. But at the same time, I think it is only fair that we treat those employees just in the same respect as we would any other member of the council staff. And I'm sorry that the impression has been given this evening that they are somehow less worthy. But in the overall context of the spirit that I believe the amendment is put forward, regardless of some of the rather unfortunate wording, we are prepared to take that on board in the spirit that I think it was intended, and we're prepared to look at all the considerations that have been mentioned in the amendment, and indeed any others that the Leader of the Opposition might want to bring to us at any time. We've said as much on any number of occasions, Mr. Mayor. The door is always open, always happy to consider fresh ideas. And my goodness me, we are going to need them looking at the financial challenges ahead. Thank you.